50 Shades of Green. It was dark and murky all around. Mud and filth oozed from even the slightest crevasse in the terrain. The gross stench of mildew and 4 billion years' worth of death and decay rose from the deep. It would usually seem odd for a donkey to be in such a place, but this was no ordinary donkey. Nor was it an ordinary asshole. For this was the asshole of Shrek, the mightiest ogre in the swamp. He had just finished his Sunday morning donkey fucking and began rolling his dank swamp doobies. He took a puff as long and hard as his cock. The sweet taste carried through his complicated non-human respiratory system, smoking out his brain like a hiker smokes out a swarm of angry wasp. He was in another place. His mind bent and twisted, practically becoming a pair of Apple headphones. He exhaled from his ear stalks before the dank swamp weed permanently damaged his brain. No longer polluted by swamp grass, he smelled baking goods from the other room. "Donkey, are you making waffles?" asked Shrek. "Yes, I am." "Why do you ask? Ya look like you're gonna need some syrup." Shrek came on the waffles. The waffles, now properly sweetened by the voluminous discharge of the green ogre, were left where they were as Shrek wiped the tip of his long green love stick with some swamp mud and moved to better accommodate his massive ballsack. His dimpled butt cheeks sloshed with fat as he put his arms behind his neck, reclining on his leather armchair. "Shrek, you put way too much syrup on these waffles. I like them sweet, but these are too much. When did you get syrup anyways?" "AHK, I picked up a load AHF it a while back. I figured you'd like it." Donkey paid the comment no mind. He always loved waffles and sex, especially at the same time. He took a plate of the waffles and sat at the table near Shrek's armchair. Donkey took a bite of the well-syruped waffles and let the somewhat salty viscous flavor cleanse his palate. He recognized the flavor immediately, as there was familiar with the green sticky spray that would coat his face when Shrek came. "Shrek," he said playfully, "I believe you used the wrong syrup." His eyes were trained on Shrek as he licked a huge dollop off the pancakes. Shrek smiled as he released a huge wet fart, which was amplified by the leather chair in which he was seated, and wafted it towards his cum-loving roommate. He arose out of his chair, further releasing the nostril-searing stench throughout the room, and stretched. His bulbous love handles jiggled at his every move while his full-busted man-tits playfully bounced along. When he was done, he looked at Donkey and smiled with his decaying teeth and asked, "Ready for round 2? Donkey's eyes widened. His tongue fell from his mouth, drooling profusely as a pair of XXL plaid pants hit the floor in front of him. Now there were 2 massive green beasts in the room. One was Shrek, and the other was Shrek's penis. Donkey's hooves shook and rattled. Was Shrek really planning on filling him up twice in one morning? The excitement was too much and he let out a guttural whinny, rearing up on his hind legs as his massive dong hit the floor with a loud thud. Shrek slid across the table, sending the waffles flying and pinning Donkey on the floor. He put a hand on Donkey's muzzle, stroking it as his equine panting warmed his face. Shrek opened his maw, and Donkey quickly filled it with his long, horsey tongue. Sighing in pleasure, Shrek let his hand fall from Donkey's soft, plush ears and slide down towards his colthood when Shrek let out a horrible scream of pain. "Ayugh me asshole." He turned around to see Puss in Boots wielding a rapier. "Fuck me, if you dare." It was dark and dark to the about. Clay and the dirtiness oozed from even the fissure more insignificant in the gnarled pong of earth, him of years of mofo and dead esteem, 4 billion and deterioration student of the bottom. It would appear generally unequal for an anus in such place, but this was not any normal ane. No, it was normal idiot. For this was the idiot of Shrek, the monster more powerful in the marsh. It finishes to finish his a rotten Sunday of Donkey of morning and began rolling the sound a cold one of doobies and humid of marsh. It took a devoured one as long and hard as his rooster. The soft taste carried for his respiratory not human complicated system, smoking 4 outside the sound brain as the smokes of Walker 4 outside a crowd of gay pay exasperated. It was elsewhere. To his pleat of spirit and twisted practically becomes him even a pair of helmet of apple. It exhaled of its stem severe before him grasp Alice humid and small cold of marsh damaged of a permanent manner of the sound brain. A long time not it polluted by the gram of marsh, it felt roasting of the merchandise of another place. Doing donkey, oh you the honeycombs? Asked Shrek. Yes, I am. The by that you ask. Ya looks at itself goner of yarn needs some syrup. Shrek came speaks us in the wave. The honeycombs, now properly sweetened by the voluminous disposal of the green monster, were left where they were as Shrek clarified the point of the love stick green long with clay of marsh and better moved suits their immense bag of bullet. Its cheeks were the small pits of splash tent with the corpulence as it puts its arms behind the sound neck, inclining in the sound armchair of leather. Shrek, you put syrup well also in these honeycombs. I like of them soft, but these are also when you received syrup in any case. AHK, I harvested a load AHF for return time. I calculated you it would like. The donkey paid the commentary no spirit, it always liked honeycombs and the sex, especially at the same time. It took a plate of the honeycombs and sat in the table very near the seat of arm of the Shrek. The donkey took a mouthful of the property of honeycombs of syrup and leaves the sticky perfume a not very salty one for clear his palate. It recognized the perfume right away, as the green sticking spray knew it that would correct his face when Shrek came. Shrek, it said funny, I believe that you used the bad syrup. Your eyes were induced in Shrek as it licked a good huge dose of the crepes. Shrek smiled as it liberated a huge wet pet that was amplified by the leather seat in that it was regulated, and was taken it in the direction of his with the piece companion to stretch. It presented himself for outside of his seat, more on to liberate the nostril pong dry by the whole place, and stretched. His bulbous love checks shaken in the sound every movement while the full sound broke men milk funny jumped joints. When it was the action it looked at Ain and smiled with its teeth it breaks down and asked, ready foe by the whole return toad. The eyes of the donkey widened. To his language his mouth fell, drooling abundantly as a fabric pants put in the failures of XXL hits the ground in front of him. Now there were two beasts will see immense in the place. And it was Shrek, and another was the acute turn eyes of the Shrek. The clogs of the donkey shook and clinked. Shrek planned really into stuff that towards the top 2 times in a morning. Enthusiasm was also and it loosens a guttural neigh, creating rising in its posterior legs as the sounded on an immense success the ground with a high-def noise. Shrek slipped by the table, sending the honeycombs that fly and criticize Doki in the ground. It puts a hand in the pipe of the Ain, the soft one, as his pants horse heated the sound face. Shrek opened his speech, and stupid filled it quickly with the sound a fascinated one of towned by the long horses. It sighs in please. Shrek leaves for its soft ains transmits the full the ears of stuffing and the full for the low one in the direction of the sound occulthood when Shrek loosens a horrible cry of pain. Augh me the idiot its surface sees pass in boots that check a rapier. To kiss me. If you dare.